Hey, how's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the Nobody Podcast. I'm the Nobody, John Kellogg. This is official coronavirus podcast. I got the Rona again. Um, Feeling good. I feel fine. But here's the situation, right? I'm one of these dudes that I'm fat, right? I'm on the brink of overweight and obese. I sort of fluctuate right on that. I think it's like 30 pounds overweight. I think that's like the number. I fluctuate right on that thing, right? So, but I feel fine. I got sick for a day, like fever, headache, that kind of stuff. But other than that, congestion was the worst part. Like I normally don't have this much. I don't really have congestion generally. I do have allergies, but generally speaking, my I do a lot of hit workouts. My lifting weights is hit style. Um, so it's easy for me to clear my lungs because I'm constantly breathing heavy, and I'm very good about working out. It's not good about eating, that's for sure. So um, this is for sure my second time having it. I think definitely I had it the third time when in 2020. But my point of me rambling on like a buffoon is that I kind of feel like this is like a joke. This whole coronavirus response thing and all these restrictions and work restrictions and the isolation and the quarantine and all that. I'm just waiting for some like pretty face spokesperson like Leo DiCaprio or like you know some hot chick Sofia Vergara to come out and let us know that like, oh hey, like we were just haha, we got you know but I know that's not happening, but it's overreach, let's just say, in my opinion. Our The Rona is more overrated than women. So that's just where I stand on coronavirus. I don't think it merits the attention, you know, just like women. Nah, I'm just fucking around. So what this really comes down to is that this is another symptom of kind of our sick, waning, ineffective culture and our belief systems. Is that this problem is really this is about personal health, and no one seems to take personal responsibility for their personal health choices in a time, and this is all happening where our culture excuses personal responsibility and allows us to blame someone else and claim victimhood for your own actions. And so no one says like, hey, some of these people, they made bad. This is this is an issue of, if this is really deeply affecting you, this is really what this comes down to. Is this is a probably a long-term issue, several years or more, of health problems. Some people are born unlucky and they don't win the genetic lottery and they have health problems, right? And that sucks. I am lucky enough to not be one of them, so I can have empathy why that would suck. But generally speaking, I think it's pretty safe to say that we all put ourselves in this position. Look, I'm fat. That's my problem. It's not like anyone is making me shove these fucking cookies down my throat. No one is making me eat cereal, breakfast fucking cereal, at 10 o'clock at night. No one. There's no sugar fairy pinching me on the ass and doing it. These are bad choices I make. And all this coronavirus stuff is, these are bad choices you made. You chose not to work out. You chose not to exert yourself. You chose not to challenge your lungs and your heart and your cardiovascular system. And now when something goes along and challenges it, now you can't handle it. And it's unfortunate for those who've lost loved ones, but I hope that one day we can sort of start to claim a little personal responsibility in all of this and say, hey, you know what? We should be wary for the elderly, and if you want to, not go outside and not do things because that's how you feel like you can protect the elderly. Hey, that's your choice. But you know, um, ultimately, we got to take a little bit of personal responsibility for histories of poor choices that probably led to these people being sick and being high risk or dying. So it's not fair, but life's not fair. And as much as we want things to be equal and just, That it's just not the reality that this world operates in. We here in this country have probably the most fair and impartial system, and yet it still has its clear problems. And so, this is just sort of this is the personal bias. This is the humanity side of us. This is our, you know, this is kind of our hubris. We we we're not willing to take, kind of personal responsibility for this, and we don't want to really notice that maybe our population is a little heavy on the old people, and so the numbers are going to be high because we're an old population. Africa, I think, has less than 3% old people, so they're not really hit by this because the vulnerable population is already dead. We have a lot of old people. We have an issue coming up here where there's going to be a lot of boomers retiring. There's not enough workers to sustain the Ponzi scheme called unemployment and retirement and all that. So, you know, um, maybe that's why. Maybe we're just more vulnerable because, our values and our ability to skirt personal responsibility and create victim boogeymen or boogeymen for victims to claim victimhood. Maybe that's part of the problem. The other thing, what I think, what kind of what I don't know how I feel about this um, because the regulations they're nuts. Um, and not nuts in like it's not there is some basic sense of logic to it. The problem is there's so many loopholes and so much um overreaction that it's almost um criminal in a way. Like the regulations. um so for me personally, when I've gotten it, I've been sick for 5 days or less, all 2 or 3 times. Like, I was working out on the fifth day lifting weights. So there is some fatigue there, but generally speaking, right, we're talking about if I can work out, right, I'm probably okay enough to work. So each time, this last time I was fine by day three. Day three, I worked out with weights and did cardio. So um, my point is that even though I've only been sick for less than 5 days each time my work has had me out, they've taken me off, which means I'm getting paid, right? Either by them, they're just covering it, or there's some, I don't know how they're doing it with workman's comp or whatever. I don't know how they're doing it, but each time it's averaged about 21 days. So for me, it's a great deal that I get for every 1 day of sort of sickness, let's call it. I'm basically getting, let's say, 5 to 7 days off, which isn't good, right? I mean, and by office, I can telework. I'm in that laptop class of people who's lucky enough to have his job mostly um, digital. But the reality is that even then, I'm not actually working because they have me, like, we have a teleworking restriction, so I can't work more than 50%, and my employer is paying me to be off the other 50%. It's just regular time. So this is why I feel like this is a problem, because I am totally, like, this is a deal I would take all day every day. Um, but it's not probably a good thing for society at large, and it probably means that when you get to forego payment for something now, you have to pay for it down the road. So our economy is going to feel this somehow. Now, I work for the government, so we don't do like any real work that has any real product. It's just bureaucratic circle jerking to justify the greater circle jerk. But there's still going to be an issue here. So the thing is I'm getting paid the same to do way less. Um, and I don't really, like, even if I'm paid off, right? They can still call me and they ask questions. Right now, it's like they're so scared with the regulations. I'm not even supposed to be called at home because I don't have a work cell phone. I use my personal. So they are instructing them not to even do that. So luckily, I work with great people. Not going to say her name, but she's a great worker, and she can do all this crap all on her own. They don't really need me that much. I mean, they do, but not really that much. So It's working out great. But I just can't imagine that this is actually a good thing, like on the long term for society. Um, but me, I mean, hey, it, you know, one thing I value is my time, and it affords me a lot more time to do things to, you know, make more money for myself or have more time off I can enjoy, get some greater, mental relaxing and getting things done to make me feel productive. And because like I said, I feel good. The only reason why I'm not at work is because work is telling me not to be at work. So, I mean, it's no one's fault. That's just the way it is. But at the same time, this is a sweet deal that I'm working. I feel like I'm getting the better end of the deal on it. So, am I complaining? No, I just can't imagine that this sweet deal is just a free ride. Like there's got to be a consequence later. That's the way the universe works. That's the way everything is. It's what you forego now, it kind of comes back to you on the end. I don't mean like spiritual, all that stuff, karma and all that. I don't really believe in that, but I'm talking about like we're talking about economic work here. Um, or just work ethics, right? Like I'm just saying this is not a positive work ethic thing for me. Where I just get to kind of like paid to chill out because of some regulation that doesn't make much sense and isn't really based on a version of reality that has either some sort of production base to it. But who knows? Maybe they're happy to pay me to not get anyone else sick, to not spread this sort of cold like flu like thing. Whatever it is, it's working out well for me is all I'm saying. Last night I stayed up late, and by late I mean like past 10, to see Don't Look Up. It's a great movie. Go see it. Don't borrow someone's Netflix or whatever. It's a dope fucking movie. It's great. Um, the thing I liked about it is sort of there's this general sort of overarching theme, and it's sort of the way what I took from it was if we don't hold us as the general nobodies, all of us nobodies, if we don't hold elites accountable, they're gonna fucking kill us. They're gonna let us all die. The bureaucracy, as it shows, is completely ineffective. It's absolutely true. It couldn't be more true. That's what I do for a living is bureaucracy. Those fiefdoms are wildly inefficient and intentionally confusing. It's a feature, not a bug, of our of the government. And it's this sense of like we can't escape death. We can't escape our inevitable demise. And we have to take it seriously and confront it. Right now, our culture is a big fucking joke, and that we are doomed if something serious were to happen. This movie sort of exposes that fragile, weak, distracted, simpleton American culture that we live in. Our it does a great job of showing how social media buzz is more important than actual content. It's a great movie. David Sirota, who is a fucking hell of a journalist, who wrote this. Kudos to you, my man. I hope you make a truckload of money, dude, because that's a great movie. You're a great journalist. For the life of me, I can't remember what publication you do, so that's my apologies, homie, and I take full responsibility for that. You slap me in the face. If it makes anyone feel any better, totally deserve it. Because I just have it listed in my favorites, and I just go right to the little symbol on YouTube or whatever. Breaking Points highlights them a lot, that's where I found him. But the point is, no one gives a shit about how he's relevant to me. I'm a nobody. Point is, Mr. Srota, I hope you make a fucking truckload of money on this because you did a great job. This is something that we all need to hear, and it's magnificent. Go take your time to see it. It's dope as hell. Speaking of being doomed, the economy is starting to look not so good. In fact, I think the word is grim. I think that's the official right here. Nobody podcast. The official economic outlook for the year 2020 is officially grim. Remember they had those terror alerts and all that, and they had the red, orange, right? Our outlook is for 2022 is orange. It's grim, right? 2023 Like I'll next year I think we have that as officially it's red category, which is fucked. So that's what we're looking at here. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but hey, motherfuckers, we're all nobodies. We're in this together. Hear ye, hear ye. This is not looking good. Um, Housing seemed to have topped off, hit the top in July, August. Inflation is so hot that it's literally the central topic of these 2022 midterm elections. Look, I don't pay attention to politics. It's fucking like B-rated celebrities. It's ridiculous. It's stupid, and all the polling seems to be wrong anyway. So I don't pay attention to this shit. But inflation is so hot, even no matter how the Fed tries to fudge with the numbers, dude, it's gonna take a collapse to slow it. Prices have to fall to to sort of help that. And so that you have so much margin in the stock market. It is many times I want to emphasize that many fucking times greater than in '01 or '08. Debt from housing is higher than it was in '08. And I definitely have noticed that my value style portfolio, so my portfolio is a bear market portfolio. It is situated in commodities and value assets. This generally that do well at the beginning of like when a stock market crash and equities collapse happens, right? So um, the way it kind of generally works is just give you guys a little 411 little that everything is on a cycle. Commodities, technologies, right? Equities. So when commodity cycles generally lead the way, they crashed in 2000 with the stock market. As you saw, the stock market, the tech stuff, all rose and reinflated, right? Which is um, just sort of it's an indication that the cycle was continuing the bull market run, but in fact, excuse me, the commodities cycle had in fact bottomed, right? And that's when. So I have been sort of value based in that way since 2000, right? While everyone else is getting these nice, great returns, I've been shifting my portfolio from that to commodities. I started with oil, and my returns have been very, very good. So this portfolio that I'm talking about, this portfolio has been going up week over week by a percentage. So it's not like I'm making just dollars here. This is a percentage of a few to several percentage points a week is going up. And I am continuing to add to these positions. So I'm not saying as I add, I make more money. That's not necessarily true. But as some of these assets these bear market crash assets that I'm investing in, as I put more and more, as I add to these positions, I have noticed that my portfolio week over week is up more consistently higher percentage points. So it's certainly an indication that whatever is people are switching over to that value style. Um, and all of these things, housing, margin, and my value, I think these are signs. All of them are signs of a financial bloodbath that is coming. Now I've been talking bonds and the bond yield curve and all that stuff because bonds are sort of have been irrelevant for a while. Um, so I know the 10-year Treasury and the 30-year that there is an indication, but best as I know that sort of indicator has been on since 2018 or is sort of fluctuating between always on since then. But point being is that there's a bloodbath coming in the equities market, especially the tech markets. People know that they're restructuring their portfolios, moving to a bear market portfolio. I'm watching my positions that I hold do well, um, or generally do well. So, um, all this to say that based on history, what we know about cycles and how these cycles work, and the preceding cycles I talked about, commodities preceding tech equities, um, based on the amount of debt in the economy, both in margin, in stocks, in equities, and the debt in the housing market from its new highs from last year. My guess is that we see what you would just call a crash. I'm not going to beat around the bush. You're going to see another great recession. You're going to see a crash. Uh, like late spring, early summer, 2023. So for the sake of accountability and not being a bitch, I'm going to say between May and July of 2023 that's when we see uh, the falling out of essentially the stock market, equity side. Um, so guys, party up, live it up, and then let make it rain until then. But other than that, for those of you who are responsible and want to capitalize on what's coming, um, I would say just save your money. Talking to my great friend about this, and since I'm here in LA, Los Angeles, so since they seem to want us to quarantine, they want us to be cut off and all that, um, that's cool. I'm gonna get in great shape because when I'm at home working out, focused on my health and stuff, I get good results. So since they want us to kind of be more doing that, I'm just gonna go with that. Save my money. Not gonna do anything crazy with my money. Just save it and sort of gather as much cash as I can because I have about a year and change probably until we start seeing the shit really start hitting the fan. And so I kind of want to have some money ready then so that I can do a little better for myself. That's just that's what I think, and we will see then. So I'm gonna check this. I'm gonna come back. I'll do a podcast between May, or let's say after July, probably. We'll see how I did. We'll see if I got lucky and I guessed right, or if I was wrong again. My money is on that I'm wrong, but um, if you kind of look at my investing history and my past portfolio and returns, that's sort of any indication. Um, I still think I'm going to be wrong, but my guess is going to be pretty fucking close because I haven't got my ass burned yet. And I don't know, I haven't really played it that safe. I'm very aggressive, and I just, I think the reason why I do well is because I don't play with fire. I saw shit happen. I stick to fundamental principles, right? Oil crashed in March, April 2020. I think that's when it was, sometime around then. When I heard oil went negative, I was like, wait, hold on, black gold is negative. So I waited until it started to pick up a little momentum. I bought into oil, recently sold out when Biden got into this whole OPEC oil war. Not going to fuck around with all that. Move my money somewhere else. So the reason why I've done well and I avoided shit in the Christmas crash in 2018 because of this. I saw the signs. I moved over to stuff that had value. When shit hit the fan, it went up. I sold off, got back into other stuff that I think, is going to do well in the current environment. Um, in 2020, though, I took a risk. I decided that if this was the beginning, since this seemed to be the beginning of the crash of the equity cycle, commodity cycle, excuse me, and since this precedes, instead of staying bullish on tech and staying in that sort of space where valuations are very inflated, I decided to put my money into the commodities. I decided to buy low and sell high. So, something I haven't generally done, I've sort of stayed within the tech phase or in those. There's good value you can find in tech and in retail and stuff like Sony, Nintendo. There's a lot of good things that are technically growth type of things, sometimes communications. But anyway, that you can sort of that they behave as if they are tech-like things, but they're not exactly. Um, so healthcare is more, I guess, of a value thing, probably. But my point is that I've been able to avoid these type of issues with mistiming things and not guessing because I've sort of gone with the greater like general outlook, like commodities will precede it. So this time I'm definitely in heavily in almost all in commodities. I just have a few, things that are more tech based and growth based because we are still in a bull market. Let's not pretend anything, right? It's just bearish for sure. So anyway, we'll see how I do, man. I'll let you guys know. Um, I mean, this is not a news podcast in any way. I'm just a nobody, just sort of spewing off whatever I think is going to be happening, because I want to make sure that other nobodies, man, that you guys have we have a shot in this, because we're all in this together, man. Let's be honest. If you're listening to this podcast, you're probably not a 1%. You're probably just a regular dude doing regular shit, or a regular chick doing regular shit, and you got stuff. We have bills to pay, and if don't what I'm saying is don't come to me for news, dude. Don't. I am not an highly informed person. I just sort of have the ability to kind of step back. I'm not as emotionally involved in the culture and in the economy and in all the politics and all this shit. So I kind of feel like I'm able to more stay on the fence and just kind of watch all this happen and go, okay. Um, I'm an opportunist. Not gonna pretend like I'm some, like I'm not, dude. I'm looking to improve my situation, and so I'm not interested in what the biases are or why. I just want to know what the biases are, so I can position myself to either be um, protected from the downside. That's most of what I'm trying to do as a dad. That's most of what your job is you're just trying to protect the family and the people against the downside, against the bad stuff. You just want to put yourself in a position of not getting your shit kicked, you know? Um, so so for me, that's what that's kind of what we're doing here. I just want to protect us all, not protect us, but hey, let you know, like, hey man, this is where I think the downside is, and this is what my crazy ass is doing. And so do like me if you want, man. Smoke your weed, have a little bit of drink, appreciate your friends and family, discriminate with your time, not your money. Let go of that material stuff, man. It's not. Look, no one ever lies on their deathbed saying, "Oh man, I wish I would have bought that Apple Watch." I'm telling you, man, it's the stuff we have is time. Base your economy on love and time. What's good for my time? What's good for my soul? What's good for my spirit? Remember, you don't have to have a purpose in life. People, we tell kids, you got to do this, you got to achieve that purpose, find your. No, man. Look, in my travels throughout this universe with the use of psychedelics, I can guarantee you that your purpose is not for material stuff. It's not to do. Look, we just the currency, the real value in this existence is in the love we have for each other and how connected this beautiful planet is. It is so intricately woven. It wastes nothing. Every atom is recollected and repurposed. There is a inevitable balance to the system, no much how bad we are and how much we throw off the environment. It is going to course correct, probably going to destroy ourselves. Um, Especially like right now, you got the bees disappearing. If they're gone, it's a wrap for us. It's a wrap. Especially for the herbivores, man. You guys are fucked. As carnivores, man, we might be able to live off like cow's milk and blood and shit and meat, but it's gonna be a wrap. So, but the Earth will be fine. This motherfucker will be here long before, long after we are, right? We got a star, a sun that's eventually going to swell and destroy this anything anyway, right? We're talking billions of years from now. I mean, look, us as humans, we have no idea how old we are. We can't even begin to decide how long humans have been on North America. They have this particular narrative that it's this long, but then they find stuff in the Ohio Valley, and it seems to be several times older than what our educated quote guess is. So we don't know what the fuck's going on here with our past, with our present, or our future. So just try to find better happiness for yourself. Don't pay attention to all this news and stuff. Look, it's meant to divide you. It's meant to grab your attention. It's meant to shock and awe. That's what that's what sells. Is right the dramatized. So that's all it is. It's just a bunch of dramatized opinions and news masquerading as information. Don't forget these people don't know anything. If they knew stuff, we wouldn't be in this situation. So enjoy yourselves, enjoy your families, have a great week. If you get the Rona, just take care of yourselves. Don't worry about it. You can now take better care of yourself if that's what you choose to do. If you're already taking good care of yourself, hey, kudos to you, man. You're doing better than me. My fat ass, needs to lose 30 pounds and keep it off. And it's like everything else worth doing. Takes sacrifice, but you got to do it yourself as an act of love for yourself, for your family, but mostly of all, right? Because the thing that's most important to us is time. The one thing we're all going to want is more time with our loved ones, more time with our kids, grandkids, friends, right? Maybe we should have had that extra glass of wine rather than, had that midnight snack. So take care, everybody. Love you guys. Thanks for listening to Nobody Podcast. As usual, leave me your comments, concerns, give me your shit, roast my ass. I don't care. In the comments, I appreciate whatever you guys do. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Look, it does not that it matters to me. It just helps me let me know, hey, am I actually doing anything with this, or am I just fucking annoying the shit out of people? So, thumbs up, thumbs down. Appreciate it, guys. Take care of yourselves. Have a good one.